Thank you. Someplace else to put it, not on top of my stuff. Shalom, everybody, and welcome to the TORAH parasha for this week. Tetzave, and we're going to start out with our Shabbat meal, thanks and praise. Blessed are you, Yahuwah, our God, sovereign King of the universe. You nourish the whole world with goodness, with grace, kindness, and compassion. You give bread to all flesh, for your mercy endures forever. And through your great goodness, we've never lacked, nor will we ever lack for food, shelter, clothing. Even the monetary needs, all of the needs of the day are provided by you, Abba Yahuwah, our Father in heaven. All of our needs, Yahuwah Yaira, our provider. And all this for the sake of your great name. For you alone are God, and you nourish and sustain and do good to all and prepare food for all of your creatures which you have created. For the glory of your name and fulfillment of your desire. Praise be your holy name, Abba Yahuwah. You are the Lord Adonai who nourishes all. B'Shem Yeshua, Amen. And as we begin our Torah study tonight, open thou our eyes, Abba Yahuwah, that we may behold wondrous things out of thy law and out of thy instructions. Praise you and thank you, B'Shem Yeshua, Amen. Baruch atah Yahuwah Eloheinu milik halom, hamaver shina miyanai utuma miyapafa, v'hi ratzon mafeyakana Abba Yah Eloheinu v'Elohai avatenu shetkolenu baratek hav v'dak pekinu mitzvateka v'yel tavienu la ledai chet v'lo ledai avara v'yavon v'lo ledai nesian v'lo ledai v'yasan v'yel tashlet benu yetzer hara b'shem Yahshua. Amen. Blessed are you, Abba Yahuwah, our God, sovereign King of the universe. You remove sleep from my eyes and slumber from our eyelids. May it be your will, Yahuwah, our God and the God of our fathers, to accustom us to your Torah, your instructions, and attach us to your mitzvah, your commands. And do not let us fall into the hands of sin, nor into the hands of pride or perversity, and lead us not into the hands of temptation, nor into the hands of shame. And do not let evil inclination rule over us, but by the power of your Ruach HaKadosh, deliver us and guide us under the headship of Yahushua HaMashiach. In the name of Yahushua, Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Yahuwah, milik ha'olam, asher natan lanu et dorekha Yeshua b'Mashiach. Yeshua Baruch Hu, Amen. Blessed are you, Abba Yahuwah, our God, sovereign King of the universe. You gave us the way of salvation through the Mashiach, Yahushua. Blessed be he. Amen. Baruch Yahuwah Yom Yom Ya'amos Lanu Ha'el Yeshuatenu B'Shem Yahushua. Blessed be Yahuwah, Abba Yahuwah. You daily carry our burdens, the God of our salvation, in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. B'Shem Yeshua, Amen. Let's start. You, Yahweh, our God, sovereign King of the universe, you have sanctified us with your commandments and commanded us to engross ourselves with the words of Torah. Please, Abba Yahweh, our God, sweeten the words of your Torah in our mouths and in the mouths of all of your people Israel. May we and our offspring, the offspring of your people, the whole house of Israel, may we all together know your name and study your Torah for the sake of fulfilling your desire. Blessed are you, Abba Yahweh. You teach Torah to your people, your children, Israel. Blessed are you, Yahweh Eloheinu, our God, sovereign King of the universe. You chose us from among all the nations and among all the peoples of all the world and gave us the Torah. Blessed are you, Yahweh, giver of the Torah. May the Lord bless you and keep watch over you. May the Lord make his presence to enlighten you. May he be kind to you. May Yahweh bestow favor on you and grant you peace. Shalom. B'Shem Yahshua. Amen. It's at 425. It's at 450. Turn to 425. The parasha for this week, Tetzave, you shall command, consists of the Torah parasha, Exodus 27:20 to 30:10. The Haftarah, Ezekiel 43:10 to 27, 1 Samuel 15:2 to 34. The Brit Hadasha, Mark 4:35 to 5:43, Philippians 4:10 to 20, and Hebrews 13:10 to 17. Let us begin with Exodus 27:20 to 30:10. You shall command the people of Israel that they bring to you pure beaten olive oil for the lamp, that a lamp may regularly be set up to burn in the tent of the meeting outside the veil that is before the testimony. Aaron and his sons shall tend to it from evening to morning before Yahweh. It shall be a statute forever to be observed throughout their generations by the people of Israel. Then bring near to you Aaron, your brother, and his sons with him from among the people of Israel to serve me as priests. Aaron and Aaron's sons, Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. And you shall make holy garments for Aaron, your brother, for glory and beauty. And you shall speak to all the skillful whom I have filled with the spirit of skill, that they may make Aaron's garments to consecrate him for my priesthood. These are the garments that they shall make: a breastpiece, an ephod, a robe, a coat of checker work, a turban, and a sash. They shall make holy garments for Aaron, your brother, and his sons to serve me as priests. They shall receive gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet yarns, and fine twined linen. And they shall make the ephod of gold, of blue, and purple, and scarlet yarns, and of fine twined linen, skillfully worked. It shall have 2 shoulder pieces attached to its edges, so that it may be joined together. And the skillfully woven band on it shall be made like it, and be of one piece with it, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet yarns, and fine twined linen. And you shall take 2 onyx stones, and engrave on them the names of the sons of Israel, 6 of their names on one stone, and the names of the remaining 6 on the other stone, in order of their birth. As the jeweler engraves signets, so shall ye engrave the 2 stones with the names of the sons of Israel. You shall enclose them in the settings of gold filigree. And you shall set 2 stones, the 2 stones, on the shoulder pieces of the ephod, as stones of remembrance for the sons of Israel. And Aaron shall bear their names before Yahweh on his 2 shoulders for remembrance. You shall make settings of gold filigree, and 2 chains of pure gold twisted like cords. And you shall attach the corded chains to the settings. And you shall make a breastpiece of judgment in skilled work in the style of the ephod. You shall make it of gold and blue and purple and scarlet yarns, and fine twined linen shall you make it. And it shall be square and doubles a span its length, and a span its breadth. And you shall set in it 4 rows of stones, a row of sardius, topaz, carbuncle shall be the first row, the second row emerald, sapphire, and diamond, and the third row jacinth, agate, and amethyst, and the 4th row beryl, onyx, and jasper. And they shall be set in gold filigree, and there shall be 12 stones with their names according to the sons of Israel, and they shall be like signets, each engraved with its name for the 12 tribes. You shall make for the breastplate twisted chains like cords of pure gold, and you shall make for the breastplate 2 rings of gold, and put the 2 rings on the 2 edges of the breastplate. And you shall put the 2 cords of gold in the 2 rings at the edges of the breastplate. The 2 ends of the 2 cords you shall attach to the 2 settings of the filigree, and so attach it in the front to the shoulder pieces of the ephod. You shall make 2 rings of gold, and put them at the 2 ends of the breastpiece, on its edge next to the ephod. And you shall make 2 rings of gold, attach them in front to the lower part of the 2 shoulder pieces of the ephod. At its seams, a skillfully woven band of the ephod. And they shall bind the breastplate by its rings to the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, so that it may lie on the skillfully woven band of the ephod, and so that the breastplate shall not come loose from the ephod. So Aaron shall bear the names of the sons of Israel in the breastplate of judgment on his heart, when he goes into the holy place to bring them to regular remembrance before Yahweh. And the breastpiece of judgment you shall put in the breastpiece, the Urim and the Thummim, and they shall be on Aaron's heart when he goes before Yahweh. Thus Aaron shall bear the judgment of the people of Israel on his heart before Yahweh regularly. You shall make the robe of the ephod all of blue, and it shall have an opening for the head in the middle of it, with a woven binding around the opening, like the opening in a garment, so that it may not tear. On its hem you shall make pomegranates of blue and purple, and scarlet yarns around its hem, with bells of gold between them, a golden bell and a pomegranate, a golden bell and a pomegranate around the hem of it. And it shall be on Aaron when he ministers, and its sounds shall be heard when he goes into the holy place before Yahweh, and when he comes out, so that he does not die. You shall make a plate of pure gold and engrave on it, like the engraving of a signet, Kadosh to Yahweh, holy to Yahweh, sanctified and set apart to Yahweh. And you shall fasten it on the turban by a cord of blue, and it shall be on the front of your turban, and it shall be on Aaron's forehead, and Aaron shall bear any guilt from the set apart things that the people of Israel consecrate as their holy gifts, as their set apart and sanctified gifts. It shall regularly be on his forehead, that they may be accepted before Yahweh. You shall weave the coat in checker work of fine linen, and you shall make a turban of fine linen, and you shall make a sash embroidered with needlework for Aaron's sons. You shall make coats and sashes and caps. You shall make them for the glory and for the beauty. And you shall put them on Aaron your brother, and on his sons with him, and shall anoint them and ordain them and consecrate them, that they may serve me as priests. And you shall make for them linen undergarments to cover their naked flesh. They shall reach from the hips to the thighs, and they shall be on Aaron and on his sons when they go into the tent of meeting, or when they come near unto the altar to minister in the holy place, lest they bear guilt and die. And this shall be a statute forever for him and for his offspring after him. Linen undergarments to cover their naked flesh, they shall reach from the hips to the thighs. So the answer is in. It's boxers, not briefs. Now this is what you shall do to them to consecrate them, that they may serve me as priests. Take 1 bull of the herd, and 2 rams without blemish, and unleavened bread, and unleavened cakes mixed with oil, and unleavened wafers smeared with oil. And you shall make them of fine wheat flour. You shall put them in 1 basket, and bring them in the basket, and bring the bull and the 2 rams. You shall bring Aaron and his sons to the entrance of the tent of meeting, and wash them with water. Then you shall take the garments, and put on Aaron the coat and the robe of the ephod, and the breastplate, and gird him with the skillfully woven band of the ephod. And you shall set the turban on his head, and put the holy crown on the turban. And you shall take the anointing oil and pour it on his head and anoint him. And then you shall bring his sons and put coats on them. And you shall gird Aaron and his sons with sashes, bind caps on them, and the priesthood shall be theirs by statute forever. Thus shall you ordain Aaron and his sons. Then you shall bring the bull before the tent of meeting, and Aaron and his sons shall lay their hands on the head of the bull. Then you shall kill the bull before Yahweh at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and shall take part of the blood of the bull and put it on the horns of the altar with your finger, and the rest of the blood you shall pour out at the base of the altar. You shall take all of the fat that covers the entrails, and the long lobe of the liver, the 2 kidneys with the fat that is on them, and burn them on the altar. But the flesh of the bull and its skin and its dung you shall burn with fire outside of the camp. It is a sin offering. Then you shall take 1 of the rams, and Aaron and his sons shall lay their hands on the head of the ram, and you shall kill the ram, and shall take its blood, and throw it against the sides of the altar. Then you shall cut the ram into pieces, wash its entrails and its legs, and put them with its pieces and its head, and burn the whole ram on the altar. It is a burnt offering to Yahweh. It is a pleasing aroma and a food offering to Yahweh. You shall take the other ram, and Aaron and his sons shall lay their hands on the head of the ram, and you shall kill that ram, and take part of its blood, and put it on the tip of the right ear of Aaron, and the tips of the right ears of his sons, and on their thumbs of their right hands, and the great toes of their right feet, and throw the rest of the blood against the sides of the altar. Then shall you take part of the blood that is on the altar, and of the anointing oil, and sprinkle it on Aaron and his garments, and his sons garments with him. And he and his garments shall be holy, and his set apart and sanctified, and his sons garments with him. And you shall also take the fat from the ram, the fat tail, and the fat that covers the entrails, and the long lobe of the liver, and the 2 kidneys with the fat that is on them, and the right thigh, for it is a ram of ordination. And 1 loaf of bread, and 1 cake of bread made with oil, and 1 wafer out of the basket of unleavened bread that is before Yahweh. You shall put all these on the palms of Aaron and the palms of his sons, and wave them for a wave offering. And then you shall take them from their hands and burn them on the altar on top of the burnt offering as a pleasing aroma before Yahweh. It is a food offering to Yahweh. And you shall take the breast of the ram of Aaron's ordination and wave it for a wave offering before Yahweh, and it shall be your portion. And you shall consecrate the breast of the wave offering that is waved, and the thigh of the priest's portion that is contributed from the ram of ordination, from what was Aaron's and his sons. It shall be for Aaron and his sons as a perpetual due from the people of Israel. For it is a contribution. It shall be a contribution from the people of Israel from their peace offerings, their contribution to Yahweh. The sanctified garments of Aaron shall be for his sons after him, and they shall be anointed in them and ordained in them. The son who succeeds him as priest, who comes into the tent of meeting to minister in the holy place, shall wear them 7 days. And you shall take the ram of ordination and boil its flesh in a holy place, and Aaron and his sons shall eat the flesh of the ram, and the bread that is in the basket in the entrance of the tent of meeting, and they shall eat those things with which atonement was made at their ordination and consecration. But an outsider shall not eat of them, because these are sanctified. And if any of the flesh from the ordination or the bread remaineth until morning, then ye shall burn the remainder with fire. It shall not be eaten, because it is sanctified. Thus shall you do to Aaron and to his sons according to all that I have commanded you. Through 7 days shall you ordain them, and every day you shall offer a bull as a sin offering for atonement. Also you shall purify the altar when you make atonement for it, and shall anoint it to consecrate it. 7 days you shall make atonement for the altar and consecrate it, and the altar shall be most set apart and holy. Whatever touches the altar shall become sanctified. Now this is what you shall offer on the altar: 2 lambs a year old, day by day, regularly. 1 lamb you shall offer in the morning, and the other lamb you shall offer at twilight. And the first lamb, 1/10 of a measure of fine flour mingled with 1/4 of a hin of beaten oil, and 1/4 of a hin of wine for a drink offering. And the other lamb you shall offer at twilight, and shall offer it with a grain offering and its drink offering, as in the morning, for a pleasing aroma and a food offering to Yahweh. It shall be a regular burnt offering throughout your generations at the entrance of the tent of meeting before Yahweh, where I will meet with you to speak to you there. There I will meet with the people of Israel, and it shall be sanctified by my glory. I will consecrate the tent of meeting and the altar. Aaron and his sons I will consecrate to serve me as priests. I will dwell among the people of Israel, and I will be their God. And they shall know that I am Yahweh, their God, who brought them out of the land of Egypt, that I might dwell among them. I am Yahweh Eloheinu. And you shall make an altar on which to burn incense, and you shall make it of acacia wood. A cubit shall be its length, and a cubit its breadth. It shall be square, and 2 cubits shall be its height, and its horns shall be of one piece with it. And you shall overlay it with pure gold in its top, and around its sides, and its horns. And you shall make a molding of gold around it, and you shall make 2 golden rings for it under its moldings, on 2 opposite sides of it. You shall make them, and they shall be for holders for poles to which to carry it. And you shall make the poles of acacia wood, and overlay them with gold. And you shall put it in front of the veil that is above the ark of the testimony, in front of the mercy seat that is above the testimony, where I will meet with you. And Aaron shall burn fragrant incense on it. Every morning when he dresses the lamps, he shall burn it. And when Aaron sets up the lamps at twilight, he shall burn it. A regular incense offering before Yahweh throughout your generations. You shall not offer unauthorized incense on it, or a burnt offering, or a grain offering. And you shall not pour a drink offering on it. Aaron shall make atonement on its horns once a year. With the blood of the sin offering of atonement, he shall make atonement for it once a year throughout all your generations. It is most sanctified to Yahweh. Ezekiel 43, 10 to 27. As for you, son of man, describe to the house of Israel the temple, that they may be ashamed of their iniquities, and they shall measure the plan. And if they are ashamed of all that they have done, make known to them the design of the temple, its arrangements, its exits and entrances, that is, its whole design, and make known to them as well all its statutes, and all its whole design, and all its laws, and write it down in their sight, so that they may observe all its laws and its statutes, and carry them out. This is the law of the temple. The whole territory on the top of the mountain, all around, shall be most sanctified, set apart. Behold, this is the law of the temple. These are the measurements of the altar by cubits, the cubit being a cubit and a hand's breadth. Its base shall be 1 cubit high, 1 cubit broad, with a rim of 1 span around its edge. And this shall be the height of the altar from the base on the ground to the lower edge, 2 cubits, with a breadth of 1 cubit, and 1 smaller ledge to the larger ledge, 4 cubits, with a breadth of 1 cubit. And the altar hearth 4 cubits, and from the altar hearth projecting upward 4 horns. The altar hearth shall be square, 12 cubits long by 12 broad. The ledge also shall be square, 14 cubits long by 14 broad, with a rim around it, half a cubit broad, and its base 1 cubit all around. The steps of the altar shall face east. And he said to me, Son of man, thus saith Yahweh, Adonai Yahweh, these are the ordinances for the altar. On the day when it is erected for the offering, burnt offerings upon it, and for throwing blood against it, you shall give it to the Levitical priest of the family of Zadok, who draw near to me to minister to me, declares Adonai Yahweh, a bull from the herd for a sin offering. And you shall take some of its blood and put it on the 4 horns of the altar and the 4 corners of the ledge and upon the rim all around. Thus shall you purify the altar and make atonement for it. You shall also take the bowl of the sin offering, and it shall be burned in the appointed place belonging to the temple outside of the sacred area. And on the 2nd day you shall offer a male goat without blemish for a sin offering, and the altar shall be purified, as it was purified with the bull. And when you have finished purifying it, you shall offer a bull from the herd without blemish, and a ram from the flock without blemish. And you shall present them before Yahweh, and the priest shall sprinkle salt on them, and offer them up as a burnt offering to Yahweh. For 7 days you shall provide daily a male goat for a sin offering, also a bull from the herd, and a ram from the flock without blemish shall be provided. 7 days shall they make atonement for the altar and cleanse it, and so consecrate it. And when they have completed these days, then from the 8th day onward, the priest shall offer on the altar your burnt offerings and your peace offerings, and I will accept you, declares Adonai Yahweh. 1 Samuel 15:2-34. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, I have noted what Amalek did to Israel in opposing them on the way when they came up out of Egypt. Now go and strike Amalek and devote to destruction all that they have. Do not spare them, but kill both man and woman, child, infant, ox, sheep, camel, and donkey. So Shaul summoned the people and numbered them in Telaim, 200,000 men on foot and 10,000 men of Judah. And Shaul came to the city of Amalek and lay in wait in the valley. Then Shaul said to the Kenites, Go, depart, go down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For you showed kindness to all the people of Israel when they came up from out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. And Shaul defeated the Amalekites from Havilah as far as Shur, which is in the east of Egypt. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and devoted to destruction all of the people to the edge of the sword. But Shaul and the people spared Agag and the best sheep of the and of the oxen, and of the fatted calves, and of the lambs, and all that was good, and would not destroy them. All that was despised and worthless they devoted to destruction. And the word of Yahweh came to Shamuel. I regret that I have made Saul king, for he has turned back from following me and has not performed my commandments. And Shamuel was angry, and he cried to Yahweh all night. And Shamuel arose early to meet Saul in the morning. And it was told Shamuel, Saul came to Carmel, and behold, he set up a monument for himself, and turned and passed on and went down to Gilgal. And Shamuel came to Saul, and Saul said to him, Blessed be you to Yahweh. I have performed the commandment of Yahweh. And Shamuel said, What then is this bleating of sheep in my ears, and the lowing of oxen that I hear? Saul said, They have brought them from the Amalekites, for the people spared the best of the sheep and the oxen to sacrifice to Yahweh your God. And the rest we have devoted to destruction. Then Shamuel said to Saul, Stop. I will tell you what Yahweh said to me this night. And he said to him, Speak. And Shamuel said, Though you are little in your own eyes, are you not the head of the tribes of Israel? Yahweh anointed you king over Israel, and Yahweh sent you on a mission, and said, Go, devote to destruction the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they are completely consumed. Why then did you not obey the voice of Yahweh? Why did you pounce on the spoil and do what was evil in the sight of Yahweh? And Saul said to Shamuel, I have obeyed the voice of Yahweh. I have gone on the mission on which Yahweh sent me. I have brought Agag, the king of Amalek, and I have devoted the Amalekites to destruction. But the people took a spoil of sheep and oxen, the best things, devoted to destruction, to sacrifice to Yahweh, your God, in Gilgal. And Shamuel said, Has Yahweh as great a delight in burnt offerings and sacrifice as in obedience to the voice of Yahweh? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to listen than the fat of rams. For rebellion is the sin of witchcraft, divination, and presumptuousness as the iniquity of idolatry. Because you have rejected the word of Yahweh, he has also rejected you from being king. So Saul said to Shamuel, I have sinned. I have transgressed against the commandment of Yahweh and your words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. Now therefore, please pardon my sin and return with me, that I may bow down before Yahweh. And Shamuel said to Saul, I will not return with you, for you have rejected the word of Yahweh, and Yahweh has rejected you from being king over Israel. As Samuel turned to go away, Saul seized the skirt of his robe, the hem, and tore it. And Shamuel said to him, Yahweh has torn the kingdom of Israel from you this day, and has given it to a neighbor of yours who is better than you. And also the glory of Israel will not lie or have regret. For he is not a man that he should have regret. Then he said, I have sinned. Yet honor me now before the elders of my people and before Israel, and return with me, that I may bow before Yahweh your God. So Shamuel turned back after Saul, and Saul bowed before Yahweh. Then Shamuel said, Bring here to me Agag, the king of the Amalekites. And Agag came to him cheerfully. Agag said, Surely the bitterness of death is past. And Shamuel said, As your sword has made women childless, so shall your mother be childless among women. And Shamuel hacked Agag to pieces before Yahweh in Gilgal. Then Shamuel went to Ramah, and Shaul went up to his house in Gibeah of Shaul. Mark 4:35 to 5:43. On that day, when evening had come, he said to them, Let us go across to the other side. And leaving the crowd, they took him with them in the boat. And just as he was, the other boats were with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves were breaking into the boat, so that the boat was already filling. But he was in the stern, asleep on a cushion. And they woke him and said to him, Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing? And he woke and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said to them, Why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith? And they were filled with great fear and said one to another, Who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him? They came to the other side of the sea, to the country of Gerasenes. And when Yeshua had stepped out of the boat, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit. And he lived among the tombs, and no one could bind him any more, not even with a chain, for he had often been bound with shackles and chains. But he wrenched the chains apart, and he broke the shackles in pieces, and no one had the strength to subdue him. Night and day among the tombs and on the mountains, he was always crying out and cutting himself with stones. And when he saw Yeshua from afar, he ran and fell down before him. And crying out with a loud voice, he said, What have you to do with me, Yeshua, Son of the Most High? I adjure you by God, do not torment me. For he was saying to him, Come out of the man, you unclean spirit. And Yeshua asked him, What is your name? And he replied, My name is Legion, for we are many. And he begged him earnestly not to send him out into the country, but that he send them into the great herd of swine that was feeding there on the hillside. And they begged him, saying, Send us into the swine. Let us enter into the pigs. So he gave them permission. And the unclean spirits came out and entered the pigs, and the herd numbered about 2,000. Rushed down the steep bank and into the sea, and drowned immediately. The herdsmen fled and told it in the city and in the country. And the people came to see what had happened. And they came to Yeshua and saw the demon-possessed man, the one who had the legion, sitting there clothed and in his right mind. And they were afraid. And those who had seen it described to them what had happened to the demon-possessed man and to the pigs. And they begged Yeshua to depart from their region. And as he was getting into the boat, the man who had been possessed with the demons begged him that he might be with him. But he did not permit him, but said to him, Go home to your friends and tell them how much Adonai, the Lord, has done for you, and how he has had mercy on you. And he went away and began to proclaim in the 10 cities, Decapolis, how much Yeshua had done for him, and everyone marveled. And when Yeshua had crossed again in the boat to the other side, a great crowd gathered about him, and he was beside the sea. Then came one of the rulers of the synagogue, Jairus by name, and seeing him, he fell at his feet, and implored him earnestly, saying, My little daughter is at the point of death. Come and lay your hands on her, so that she may be made well and live. And he went with him. And a great crowd followed him and thronged about him. And there was a woman who had a discharge of blood for 12 years, and who had suffered much under many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and was no better, but rather grew worse. She had heard the reports about Yeshua, and came up behind him in the crowd, and touched his tzitzit. For she said, If I touch even his tzitzit, I will be made well. And immediately the flow of blood dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of her disease. And Yeshua perceived in himself that the power had gone out from him. Immediately he turned about in the crowd and said, Who touched my tzitzit? And his disciples said to him, You see the crowd pressing about you, and yet you say, Who touched my tzitzit? And he looked around to see who had done it. But the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came in fear and trembling, and fell down before him, and told him the whole truth. And he said to her, Daughter, your trust in me has made you well. Go in peace, and be healed of your disease. And while he was still speaking, there came from the ruler's house some who said, "Your daughter is dead. Why trouble the teacher any further?" But overhearing what they said, Yeshua said to the ruler of the synagogue, "Do not fear, only believe." And he allowed no one to follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. They came to the house of the ruler of the synagogue, and Yeshua saw a commotion, people weeping and wailing loudly. And when he had entered in, he said to them, "Why are you making a commotion and weeping? The child is not dead, but sleeping." And they laughed at him. But he put them all outside and took the child's father and mother and those who were with him and went into where the child was. And taking her by the hand, he said to her, "Talitha kumi," which means, "Little girl, arise." And immediately the girl got up and began walking, for she was 12 years of age. And they were immediately overcome with amazement. And he strictly charged them that no one should know this. And he told them to give her something to eat. Philippians 4:10-20. I rejoiced in Adonai greatly, that now at length you have revived your concern for me. You were indeed concerned for me, but had no opportunity. Not that I am speaking of being in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know now to be brought low, and I know how to abound. And in any circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through Mashiach, who strengthens me. Yet it was kind of you to share my trouble, and you Philippians yourselves know that in the beginning of the good news, when I left Macedonia, no church entered into partnership with me in giving and receiving except you only. Even in Thessalonica, you sent me help for my needs once and again. And now that I seek the gift, but I seek the fruit that increases your credit, I have received full payment and more. I am well supplied, having received from Aphroditus the gifts you sent, a fragrant offering, a sacrifice acceptable and pleasing to Yahuwah. And my Elohim will supply every need of yours according to his riches in glory in Yeshua HaMashiach. To our Elohim and Abba, Father, be glory forever and ever. Amen and amen. Hebrews 13:10-17. And we have an altar from which those who serve the tent have no right to eat. For the bodies of those animals whose blood is brought into the holy place by the high priest as a sacrifice for sin are burned outside the camp. So Yeshua also suffered outside the gate in order to sanctify the people through his own blood. Therefore, let us go to him outside the camp and bear the reproach he endured. For here we have no lasting city, but we seek the city that is to come. Through him, then, let us continually offer up a sacrifice of praise to Abba Yahuwah. That is the fruit of lips that acknowledge his name. Do not neglect to do good and to share what you have, for such sacrifices are pleasing to Yahuwah. Obey your leaders and submit to them, for they are keeping watch over your souls, as those who will have to give an account. Let them do this with joy and not groaning, for that would be of no advantage to you. And this concludes our readings for the parasha this evening, for this Shabbat. Hallelujah. Thank you, B'Shem Yeshua. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Yahuwah, Malik ha'olam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, V'shayei alom natapakenu. Baruch atah Adonai Yahuwah. Naton haTorah. B'shem Yeshua. Amen. Blessed art thou, Adonai Yahuwah, our God, sovereign King of the universe. You gave us the Torah of truth and set everlasting life in our midst. Blessed are you, Yahuwah, giver of the Torah. B'shem Yeshua, in Yeshua's name, Amen.